How are you going to work? Okay. Mercury rules my 6th house, where Mars is retrograde. So, like, connectivity, every time I've tried to do this, has just been out of control. Hello. I was worried for a moment. I was like, no one's going to come. It's Friday night. You missed your chance. And you're going to be the only one who wants to talk about tarot at this time. But no, we're here, and I'm so thrilled. Woo! It is a full freaking moon, isn't it? It's a full moon in Cancer. It's a full moon that's squared Chiron on its way to fullness. So it is just, it's a doozy out here. I have had lots of things come up. Lots of feelings, as all of us people who practice astrology are out here talking about in a Cancer full moon. All of our feelings everywhere. And so I hope that y'all are doing well and feeling grounded and just being able to sit with your feelings as they arise. Whew. Yeah, it's a lot. Happy full moon, indeed. And it just stopped raining here today in Long Beach, and so I can actually see the moon, which is nice. It's been pouring here all week, so. All right. Okay. Cancer, Sun, Venus, and Mercury. Woo! Okay, so you are full today, right? Just like completely at capacity, I imagine. Everyone just sort of getting filled up by this moon. And it's nice when it's like the first full moon of the year, you know. I'm from the San Fernando Valley. I am a Valley girl, but I live in Long Beach, which feels very much like home, but just different enough from the San Fernando Valley to feel new and exciting to me as a native Angelino. So, Cancer, Sun, and Mercury is all up in here. Okay, Cap rising, same. Ooh, yeah, doing and feeling. It's nice to see you back here. It's been a little while. I'm so glad to be here with y'all. So, this moon. Oh my gosh. I mean, to talk about this full moon, we kind of have to revisit some of what we've pulled already. Cancer, Mars retrograde. Okay, so you're feeling some things lighting up for you, especially as Mars is retrograde right now. I bet that's like connecting things for you. So, if you've been tuning in, we 2 weeks ago pulled for the new moon in Capricorn and Sag rising, Cancer moon in the 8th. Okay, ooh, yeah, so feelings coming through the ether, through this deep space. Okay. So at our new moon in Capricorn, we pulled our, yeah, Mercury, don't worry, Erin. There will be more opportunities for us to connect. Mercury's been really, really doing the most, so don't worry. But, so we're going to review. At the Capricorn new moon, we acknowledged that it was our kind of like final Capricorn new moon being ruled by a Saturn in domicile. So, sending you lots of love for your pet. I'm so sorry. That's a lot. That's a Cancer full moon. Like, family feelings. I'm sorry. Yeah. And at the Capricorn new moon, we were looking at what kind of new cycle we were starting. Me and my little Mercury retrograde 6th house has our notes on Post-its for now before I put them in my notebook permanently. It's fine. So we were looking at a cycle that was beginning for us at the new moon, and that was the High Priestess. So we started off this new moon with some inner work. We said the word inner like a million times because everything's retrograde, and we were clearing away the 7 of Swords, so some previous attitudes, as well as like spaces that weren't really helping us thrive. We had the Five of Cups come up for how we might recognize that process unfolding. And so we talked about how when we shift out of problematic attitudes or otherwise remove ourselves from situations that don't serve us, we often mourn relationships that go with some of those situations, or we mourn the loss of those previously kind of protective factors that we were carrying around. So some things unfolding. But we ended with the Queen of Cups, which is beautiful, a way to ground ourselves. At last week's first quarter moon in Aries, we recognized some star energy accumulating, talking about how shifting out of those spaces and attitudes were helping us tune into our authenticity. We had some doubts and complications coming up about the Ace of Swords. What new truths were we going to have to acknowledge and like kind of make space for as we embrace this authentic self? We had the gift of justice, which was showing us that this was a kind of nudge to make things right where we were able to at that time. And then we ended with the sun as a lesson, which was beautiful. Just being able to kind of recognize ourselves coming out from a previous place of sort of exploring the subconscious and facing some of our fears and some of those echoes within us, and coming out on the other side really connected to a better knowing of ourselves. So I love the energy we've built up over the course of this whole moon story. And at this full moon, we can take a look at like what is culminating at this time. So we'll take a look at the situations that are arising and how we can make space for these things. And let's go ahead and take a look at that. We've had some comments in the chat about some things we're moving through at this time, and that's absolutely expected with a Cancer full moon, which really just kind of serves to help us, or to have us maybe acknowledge what we're feeling and maybe try to just embrace those feelings in whatever way we naturally can, just sort of holding space for ourselves emotionally, because it's difficult out here. Being humans, it's difficult. So let's see what we have here. So our situation culminating now. Interesting. Okay, how I can make space for this situation or revelation. Okay. What I'm able to celebrate in the light of this moon. Okay. And what I'm able to release in the light of this moon. All right. This is going to be I was like, what cards will repeat? And literally none of them have repeated. I expected someone to come back. Okay. The situation culminating now is that we have this King of Swords. So we already just talked about an Ace of Swords in last week's reading, and how we were having to make space for new truths and how that can be really scary. The Suit of Swords is typically one that most people fear. No one really likes to see swords come up. It makes us uncomfortable. It makes us feel tense. It does speak to anxiety and to complicated and contradictory perspectives and perceptions, and how it is we're going to navigate all these things and make it all make sense. And that brings up a lot of fear for us, a lot of doubts, a lot of uncertainties. So seeing this king as a situation that's culminating now tells me that we've been on a journey that has brought us to some sort of not just deep truth, but truth that we are able to demonstrate outwardly in some way. Somehow we are going to be sort of living and breathing this new truth. And that kind of helps me understand that this process of, this inner work we've been doing with these planets in retrograde, all being ruled by Saturn in Aquarius, who's about to leave Aquarius for the last time in many years, right? 28 or so years until Saturn comes back to Aquarius. So it seems very fitting to see this very Saturnian, kind of Aquarian card showing up for us here. Last week we talked about Mars and Mercury both being retrograde under this Saturn, and how Saturn is sort of asking us to do some of this inner restructuring now, so that when Saturn moves into Pisces in March, we're not like drowning, basically. Like, I used the metaphor in my horoscopes for this month that Saturn's helping us prepare the vessel before we send it out to sea. And so it's been really important for us to come to whatever truths we are able to live in and breathe now at this time, because what we are stepping into truth-wise and what we're able to demonstrate for other people is going to set the tone for the next 28 years of whatever Aquarius is up to in your chart, whatever Saturn is responsible for in that part of your chart. So this journey we've been on since the new moon in Capricorn is helping us. Maybe this prepares us for the new moon in Aquarius, since that's going to be the final new moon ruled by a Saturn in domicile will be this upcoming Aquarius new moon. So we're getting clear. Some situation is culminating now that is about our truth, a truth that can no longer be denied, a truth that we are learning to fully embody and fully demonstrate externally to others around us. And this might be us sort of setting these new boundaries that we basically have talked about for the past 2 weeks. With the Seven of Swords, we talked about removing ourselves from false situations or clearing ourselves from attitudes that were no longer serving us. And so at this point, we are really starting to see what that looks like and what that feels like and how we start communicating that outward to other people, from a place of really like knowing that this is real now. The Seven is like, I'm going to have to work some things out. I'm not really sure, but the King is, I have centered myself in this truth, and I made this look like the sword in the stone. This is like, I can pull this out and I can act on this, and this is honorable and this is real. How I can make space for this situation or revelation. This is really sweet to see on the other side of the King of Swords, the Three of Cups. And this must have come up, I think maybe at our last full moon, because it's not this cycle, but I remember seeing this and talking about this. Erin, if you're still here, I'm wondering if you remember. I'm pretty sure this came up at our last full moon. And so interesting, we're at this point where we can make space by talking, by communicating to people, right? And that's exactly what we said about the King, demonstrating outwardly and starting to communicate these boundaries. Definitely shows up in the Three of Cups, but the Three of Cups is much softer. The King of Swords is very like, I must lead and show you this truth, and like, you will respect me. It's my King voice. And the Three of Cups is much more gentle, is much more community. Yay! Okay, Erin, yes, we totally are coming back to this card again. And so it's much more, it's soft, it's water, it's emotional, and there's three, we're connecting in community and friendship and spirit, and we're bonding over our experiences. So it makes a lot of sense that we would start demonstrating some of these communities with the people who will be in community with us and emotionally understand the boundaries that we're setting and these experiences that we're having. So I think this is lovely. We again talked about the Seven of Swords and also the Five of Cups and how we separated from some dynamics by stepping away from attitudes and environments that were not helpful for us, that were not supportive of us, that were not helping us be our true selves. And so in doing so, we lost some relationships. We stepped away from some dynamics, and that brought up the Five of Cups. And so we're returning to who can I share this with? Who can I bond with in a way that allows me to feel emotionally fulfilled, that allows me to reconnect with my community in a positive and healthy way? I love that. What I'm able to celebrate in the light of this moon is the Page of Pentacles. So I'm feeling this a bit, and I'm curious if some of y'all are feeling this too. Even though we're still in the time of retrograde, right? This deep, endless time of retrograde, presumably. That's how it feels. It's coming to an end. It's like everything is still retrograde and nothing is moving, but it is coming to an end, and there are ideas starting to emerge from the ether. We see this beautiful new monstera leaf starting to unfurl gently. It's unrolling, and it's a tangible thing, but it's still in this sort of ether space. It's not quite here on Earth yet, and so this shows us that there is something that is beginning to grow within us, maybe subconsciously, that has the potential and the promise of manifesting into something bigger, but we're not quite there yet. Like, we're not at the knight who is the one who starts acting upon these visions. The knight is like, okay, I have the tools and I have the energy and I have the plan. We've made the blueprint, and so now I'm ready to go. the page is still in the download stage, still in the imagination stage, but it is a percolating feeling that something that will be tangible soon is starting to come alive in the mind. So I really like that as something we can celebrate, because again, this retrograde time is gonna end eventually, oh my gosh. And we are starting to tune into what we're gonna be doing once those planets do station direct. Whew, like what a sigh of relief. So we're definitely feeling some of those downloads emerge, some of those ideas start to arrive. We've made it past, we've made it past the bulk of the Mars retrograde. That's already making its sort of slowdown. The Mercury Cazimi is just hours after this full moon that has just passed. And so that moment of clarity is something that we can start to use, even though it's an inferior Cazimi. Mercury is still retrograde, so we're not, and that's really the key point of the retrograde, right, is that Cazimi. So we're not yet still fully equipped. We don't have the energy yet. Mars is still retrograde. We don't have all the tools and all the plans laid out, but this divine moment of clarity is showing to us what is possible, especially in Capricorn, right? The earth sign. We're looking at Pentacles. So we're starting to get those ideas, and that's something that we should absolutely celebrate. That's beautiful. We need that to feel good about. We need that to motivate us to move forward. And also Saturn's I've put you through the ringer. So here are some, here's some ideas of what you're going to start to work on. I have to give you something to kind of move toward. We need something, Saturn. Don't leave us so cold. What I'm able to release in the light of this moon. Interesting to see the Queen of Wands here, since we think of release as something maybe I want to be rid of this, or I can let go of the Five of Cups. I love to release the Five of Cups, for example. So we might be thinking, what does this mean? So we can consider some of maybe the shadow elements of the Queen of Wands here, or the reverse elements of the Queen of Wands, and thinking about some creative blockages that we might be able to release, especially in the light of this Cazimi. Maybe this Page of Pentacles coming in, bringing in new inspiration and allowing us to release some of the blocked up Wands energy. We've been wanting to make things. I love the Queen in particular because this is a character who is kind of different from other queens, who is I make things for myself. Everyone, all the other queens are kind of yes, I am a demonstration of this energy, and I perform this energy internally and am able to kind of feed that outward to you. And the Queen here in Wands almost acts like a king in its ability to kind of just make whatever, except that it's for them. The Queen of Wands is this, I wanted this, so I did this. The King of Wands is look, the vision, and I will help you see it. I will guide you, I will guide you there. I'll show you how to go. Here's what I see, and let's all do it. The Queen is I wanted this. I thought it was cool. I made it. There's a lot going on in this card. For better or for worse, the Queen is the Queen of Wands in particular is just uncontainable energy. And so there's something that's wanted to be made. There's something that's wanted to come to fruition. We've all been waiting for retrogrades to be over. We have started 2023 expecting to be able to start something the way that we tend to start the year. And yet we've just been asked to keep plugging away at this inner work and clearing these obstacles in our subconscious, and that's so rewarding, but goodness, where is the magic again? I need to see something happen. So we are releasing some of this blockage. I felt so uninspired and blocked and foggy, and today I sat down and wrote for 6 hours. Yes! Awesome! That's awesome. Absolutely. So this really connects us with this Page of Pentacles energy. Again, this is going to be tangible eventually. It's gonna turn into the night once we know a clearer plan, once we have things moving forward. Until then, we're having inspiration come, and that is enough to help us let go of this feeling of, I can't make anything possible. I can't make anything happen. So I think this is maybe a feeling of the engines, nope, engine is a pretty Mars word, so maybe not engines. The engines are not yet running. What is running? The subconscious. We're we have cleared out, that's this journey. We started the journey with the High Priestess and deepening our intuition. And so here we are. We have moved through, Yes, I love it. Let's bring it full circle. We've moved through these attitudes and these situations that were not helpful for us. They were clouding our judgment. They were keeping us from being able to listen to our intuitive powers. We removed ourselves from some harmful situations and ways of thinking. And that made us mourn some feelings and some parts of ourselves that were connected to those stages of our lives. But ultimately, we grounded by deepening our sense of well-being for ourselves with the Queen of Cups. And last week we saw the star emerge. We came out already from that new moon, being more authentic versions of ourselves. And that meant that we had to kind of face our fears about new truths that would emerge from that place. If I got rid of those old truths that are no longer part of who I am, I'm now going to have to respond to new things that come up for me. And how am I going to do that? We're going to do that by making things right the way that I can in this moment. However I've emerged as this new person, I need to sort of set things in a way that feels good to me and to the environments I am still part of. And all of this is showing me that I'm emerging more in tune with my innate light in the sun, right? So this is awesome. I love seeing this. We've unclogged some channels. We've done some deep plumbing work. And that High Priestess is really coming through, because that High Priestess is our intuitive power that allows us to sense when it is time to act and when it is time to sit and still kind of process and do all of that. And so I'm having such a fun time seeing us emerging in this new place of truth, connecting that with the people we are in community with, feeling this new inspiration come through, and feeling the magic start to light up again. So the subconscious engines are running. Let's say that. We can say that with Mercury Kazemi happening, I think, that the subconscious energies are now starting to align. And so the other things are starting to slowly click. The engines will start soon, right? We know that retrograde ends in a bit. Balance in grad school and the million creative projects I wish I could give energy to. Yes, I feel you. Also doing that. This is helping me think about how I can mine for creativity in my professional and academic journey. Yay! I love that. I feel for that so hard. I'm also in grad school. Also, a lot of us are our own creative powerhouses out here, having to kind of create our worlds, and there's not enough time in the day. There's not enough time in the day. And then retrograde's happening. And it's wait. Okay, so nothing outside is going to work either. Okay, awesome. Cool. So I'm so relieved to hear that. Yes, mining for creativity is absolutely something that is possible for us now. Everything you're saying, this is feeling, I can actually do this thing. Yes. Yes. There's this feeling of shedding, it's time to dream new worlds into being. Yes, absolutely. It is. And I think that is really the big takeaway for Saturn. Saturn's okay, while I've been in domicile, it's been tough, but I've had 5 years with you where we've done the work of figuring out some of our core structures and what that's going to look like moving forward. And now it's time for me to set sail, y'all. I gotta go into Pisces. And once I'm in Pisces, I can't help you. Once I'm in Pisces, I'm in the waves also. So I have to make sure that y'all can get grounded for yourselves and set this kind of up for yourselves and do this work so that when things move forward and I'm gone, you'll have an idea of what you're moving toward and how you're getting yourself there. So this is awesome. I'm so glad to hear that this is resonant for y'all. It certainly feels resonant for me. Definitely starting to feel the new year actually feel like a new year, and just starting to ease into some new ways of being, which I really like. We're, as we've seen in these cards, we are flexing some new muscles. We are trying out some new parts of ourselves. So it's probably a blessing that things are so slow right now. We want to be out here this is me, look, I changed. And it's no, why don't you take a few steps and like see how it feels, and like then we're gonna all be out here soon. We're gonna all be out here so soon, like, hey, oh my god, look, I'm a shiny new version of me, and like here's all the new things that I learned. And we're starting to do that with this 3, absolutely. So I'm really excited for us to be feeling something internally, becoming more aligned, or aligned for the first time in some ways for us, and starting to feel some energy start to accumulate. Not quite moving just yet. And I know that once we, this new moon in Aquarius, rather, I'm sure it will kind of be like the final moments of stillness before we take off into, full Aquarius season and leaving these retrograde shadows finally. So, thank y'all so much for being here. This was so dope. This is a moon in my 7th house, so I feel like we really had a lot of fun in this one. So thank y'all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, I would love if you could like it, if you could share it with anyone who you think may benefit from this reading, these messages. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please rest, drink water in this Cancer full moon, like be hydrated, tend to all of your baby needs, all of your inner baby, be gentle. And I'm so excited for this cycle. It's beautiful. Connect, right? Live in your truth. Connect with your peers. Download those new maps, those new blueprints coming in, and like let the creative passions flow. Yes. All right. Happy full moon, y'all. We'll see you next week in the 3rd quarter moon, where we release things. Ha 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 ha.